Updating the ongoing conflict between Russia and Ukraine, the Russians are facing non-stop military losses on Ukrainian soil. In a startling update over the last 3 days, Russia has faced some of its highest losses of troops and equipment since the start of the war in Ukraine. In dramatic footage shows, Russian troops abandoned their BMD after a Ukrainian ATGM strike on the front line. The presented footage shows 3 Russian BMD infantry fighting vehicles advancing in the vicinity of Severodonetsk village. One of the Russian armored vehicles gets hit by Ukrainian troops' ATGM fire, rendering the vehicle immobile. After the strike, dozens of Russian troops can be seen running away, abandoning their vehicle. Then the Ukrainian forces deliver another strike, which destroys the second Russian armored vehicle. In new footage shared online, shows Ukrainian forces dropping bombs on Russian war machines and targeting them with FPV drones to stop them from breaking through the Ukrainian line of defense. The footage shows Ukrainian FPV drones hitting a column of Russian military vehicles, resulting in substantial explosions. As a result strike, Ukraine destroyed 3 tanks, 2 infantry fighting vehicles, and 1 armored personnel carrier. According to Monday's tally from the General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, Russia has lost a total of 347,160 troops in Ukraine since the beginning of Putin's invasion in February 2022. That number includes 1,090 casualties that Kyiv said Russian forces have suffered over the past day. On Sunday, the General Staff reported Russia had lost 1,250 casualties since the day before, and Saturday's update said Russia's forces had lost 930 casualties during the previous 24 hours. The 3-day total from Kyiv's figures would thus be 3,270. The most recent losses by Russia come amid what the Kyiv Post wrote were substantial weekend attacks against Ukrainian targets in numerous sectors of the country. These attacks reportedly included military operations in the regions of Kharkiv, Donetsk, Zaporizhia, and Kherson. Russian forces had the initiative and were attempting to advance in groups of 10 to 20 vehicles, or in some cases groups of dismounted infantry troops particularly vulnerable to FPV drones and cluster munition strikes, the Kyiv Post said. One reported site of heavy fighting in Kherson was around Kry and KY, a village near the Dnieper River. Ukraine's military established a bridgehead in the area in October, but combat has remained intense there since that time. Russia recently turned to paratroopers from its VDV airborne forces, who are often called the most elite fighters in Putin's forces, for combat near Kry and KY. However, the United Kingdom's Ministry of Defense, MOD, reported on Thursday that the VDV division suffered exceptionally heavy losses during fighting along the Dnieper. British intelligence said the division's lack of success could have been due to it being reportedly poorly supported by air power and artillery, while many of the troops were highly likely inexperienced. Meanwhile, the U.S. will announce one more military aid package to Ukraine before the end of the year, a top White House official said on Monday. But after that, funding will dry up due to roadblocks in Congress that have stalled President Joe Biden's request for more aid. White House National Security Council spokesperson John Kirby told reporters that the Biden administration will provide one additional security assistance package before the month's end, but it could be the last unless Congress can pass additional support. On Monday, Kirby noted that continuing to support Ukraine remains in the U.S. best interests and should be prioritized. Ukraine still needs our help, he said, and it's well past time for Congress to act, to stand up for freedom and democracy, and defense of our national security interests, which are very much at play here. A similar sentiment has been expressed by Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, who told U.S. senators last week that if Ukraine loses, the outcome won't lower Russia's threat to other neighboring countries or satiate Russian President Vladimir Putin's hunger, but instead increase it. The risk of Russia invading other nations, potentially including some NATO members, will only grow larger, Zelensky warned. Besides, Russia summoned Finland's ambassador on Tuesday to object to a new defense agreement granting the United States broad access to the vicinity of the new NATO members' long border with Russia, Moscow's foreign ministry said on Tuesday. The ambassador was told Moscow would not leave unanswered the buildup of NATO military potential on our border, which threatens the security of the Russian Federation, and would take the necessary measures to counter the aggressive decisions of Finland and its NATO allies, spokeswoman Maria Zakharova said in a statement. Finland became the U.S.-led NATO military alliance's newest member this year in response to Russia's dispatch of troops into Ukraine in early 2022. Monday's agreement with the United States is aimed at allowing swift military access and aid to Finland in case of conflict, officials said ahead of the announcement. The agreement lists 15 facilities and areas in Finland to which the U.S. military will have unimpeded access and where it can also store military equipment and ammunition, including 4 air bases and a military port.